It is a much better product compared to the previous generation, and this is the reality. So if you drive any car on open roads, सब गाड़ी अच्छा माइलेज देगी, but if you drive in traffic, that is where the real story comes out. The Verna also grabs a lot of attention. In fact, this black car with black wheels looks quite dope, and even at the petrol pump, people were asking me about the car. They were a little curious. It is time for another mileage test, and this time we have the Hyundai Verna Turbo DCT. So I'm driving the Verna Turbo DCT for the first time. गाड़ी को full tank petrol भरवा लिया है. It is time to drive this car 100 kilometers. ट्रैफिक में चलाएंगे, हाईवे पे चलाएंगे, and then at the end of the video we'll see the real world mileage of the Turbo DCT variant of the Verna in Mumbai. So let's get started. Completed the first 25 kilometers of driving, and the MID showing 14.8 kilometers per liter. जो ARA claimed figure है for the Turbo DCT is 20.6 kilometers per liter. Now, of course, in traffic, this one drinks fuel. Very sensitive engine, and of course, turbo engines in general are very sensitive. अभी तो टेस्ट शुरू हुआ है, एंड आई हैव फाउंड 90% ऑफ द रोड्स टू बी एम्प्टी. थोड़ा ही ट्रैफिक मिला बीच में, बट द एम ऑफ दिस टेस्ट इज टू ड्राइव द कार इन अ मिक्स्ड ड्राइविंग साइकिल. तो ट्रैफिक में भी काफी चलने वाली है गाड़ी, एंड देन वील सी कि कितना मिलता है रियल वर्ल्ड माइलेज. Now this engine is so good, the 1.5 turbo engine, most powerful engine in the segment, 160 PS, 253 Newton meters, that you actually have to control the urge to push the car, because it is so tempting the way it delivers the power. बहुत ही मजा आता है और एकदम बढ़िया तरीके से रफ्तार पकड़ लेती है वर्ना टर्बो. तो चलाने में तो बहुत मजा आता है, बट ऑफ कोर्स आई एम कीपिंग माय अर्जेस अंडर कंट्रोल टुडे. ड्राइविंग द कार एट अराउंड 80 किलोमीटर्स पर आवर ऑन द हाईवे, एंड सिटी में तो ऊपर नीचे हो रही है स्पीड, तो दैट इज डिपेंडेंट ऑन ट्रैफिक. एंड कंटिन्यू करते हैं माइलेज टेस्ट. वेरी नाइस engine. Gearbox is a little lazy, not the quickest. I think the Virtus and the Slavia have a quicker 7-speed DSG. Completed 50 kilometers of driving the Verna, and the mileage on the MID is hovering around 14.5 kilometers per liter. थोड़ा कम आ गया because there was some traffic in between. So I think we have done enough highway driving. थोड़ा और चलाएंगे 10-15 kilometers and then head back inside the city, and थोड़ा traffic में भी गाड़ी को drive करेंगे. So we'll see how much the number actually comes down to. So overall, it has been a good experience driving the Verna. Of course, it is a much better product compared to the previous generation. The previous one is also quite nice. High speed stability is quite nice, but somehow this car seems to be swerving a little towards the left when you brake hard. I think that has got to do something with an inconsistent tire pressure in the rear left tire, because that is the TVMS which is showing. The Verna also grabs a lot of attention. In fact, this black car with black wheels looks quite dope, and even at the petrol pump, people were asking me about the car. They were a little curious कि कैसी है नई वाली वर्ना, शोरूम से डायरेक्ट आई है and all that. So anyway, this is the 50 kilometer update. I'll give you guys the next update at 75 kilometers, and then the final one at 100 kilometers. So completed 75 kilometers, and the mileage has dropped to 11.1 kilometers per liter. As I mentioned at the start of the video, काफी sensitive होते हैं turbo petrol engines, and I drove in sport mode for around 10 minutes just to see the difference between normal and sport. तो difference is there, it is noticeable, but of course ज़्यादा अगर आपको enthusiastically चलानी गाड़ी, use that mode, otherwise normal mode is just fine. So now I've been puttering around in traffic, and thankfully the automatic is very smooth and convenient over there. No complaints on this front, but I think mileage इसमें थोड़ा और गिरने वाला है by the time I reach 100 kilometers. And this is the reality. So if you drive any car on open roads, सब गाड़ी अच्छा माइलेज देगी, but if you drive in traffic, that is where the real story comes out, and most people drive in traffic only anyways, तो थोड़ा उसमें वैसे ही कम होता है माइलेज. सो रियलिस्टिकली आई एम एक्सपेक्टिंग गाड़ी अराउंड 10 किलोमीटर्स डिलीवर करेगी, 10-10.5 के बीच में. लेट्स सी हाउ मच it actually gives. Keeping me entertained is this audio system, Bose speakers, very nice quality. So in terms of features, the car is quite nice, very loaded, and overall also it is very enjoyable to drive. Lot of potholes. Yeah, these 16-inch tires, Apollo and 4G, they are decent in terms of grip and durability, and I have the same tires on my own car also. They are decent, long lasting. That's about it. I'll give you the final update at 100 kilometers, where I actually go and fill up fuel in the car and calculate the mileage. So yeah, that's it. So you guys might be wondering कि हम लोग exact 100 kilometers कैसे करते हैं all the time. So basically when we start, we drive the car for 45-50 kilometers. After that we take a U-turn, then come back towards the starting location, and on the way we drive the car in traffic, थोड़ा detour ले लेते हैं, and when the trip meter is near 95-97 kilometers, we start taking rounds near the fuel pump itself, so that when the trip meter is at 99.9, we enter the fuel pump और सीधा 100 पे वो अंदर आ जाते हैं. So the MID on this car is showing 10.4 kilometers per liter. ARA claim mileage say half, 20.6 is the claim mileage, and the car took in 9.02 liters of petrol, amounting to 959.46 rupees. So let's do some math. 100 divided by 9.02, and the mileage is 11.08 kilometers per liter, which is a little more than the MID indicated figure. And what about the running cost? So we spent 959.46 rupees to tank up the Verna again, and with 100 kilometers of running, the running cost comes up to 9.59 rupees per kilometer, which is a little on the higher side. लेकिन petrol cars का वही range होता है in mixed driving conditions. So this was the 100 kilometer mileage test with the Verna Turbo DCT. अभी आपको idea आ गया होगा कि ARA claim number और real life number जो traffic और highway दोनों का mixed driving में जो आपको number मिलता है उसमें कितना ज़्यादा फर्क होता है. So that's about it from my side. अगर आपके पास Verna, if you have a Verna, let me know your real life mileage in the comment section below.